Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Kennesaw State Owls Dynasty here on College Football 25. In the last episode, we embarked on our full Year 1 offseason, which saw us bring in the 51st ranked recruiting class, where we made a big impact in the transfer portal. And in that last phase of recruiting, we brought in 15 signings there going into National Signing Day with just 4 committed players. So we were really nervous heading into that final stage, but it all did work out for us. So here we're going to preview the Year 2 season, and we'll open up by setting up our recruiting board. I have not looked at anything here as far as recruiting goes here for Year 2. I know what we need, but I'm not sure how the interest is going to be here going into Year 2. So we're just going to start out going by state, and of course our home state of Georgia made up the bulk of our commitments from last season. So we'll just go down by position, and we don't really need a quarterback in this class. I guess we could use one just to add a little more depth. And we have a couple guys up here. 3-star Willie Dykes, a scrambler. Tymon Adams, another scrambler here. 2 athletes. I think we'll add Adams just because we're second on his board. And there's another one, Logan Cheek, another scrambler. So all these guys, athletes who do want to play quarterback. And then we have Deion Kendricks, a lefty, actually, improviser, 6'4", 224. He does have the Bulldogs of Georgia number 1, but we'll add him as well. And we do have a field general here. We have another scrambler, Angel Lampkin, and then Keenan Ledyard. I think we'll just leave these 2 quarterbacks for now. Go down to running back, and we do need a lot of running backs in this class, ideally 3, but I think we can make do with 2. We're going to lose, I think, 2 or 3 running backs after this season, including Gavin Garcia, who we got in the transfer portal from Kent State. We'll add Kevin Page, a power back. Love to see that. Jamerson Pete, another power back. We'll add both of these guys. Going down the line, Taj Glennon, another power back here, but we're 8th. So we'll just kind of focus on the guys where we're higher up their board for now. Alonzo Irving, an athlete power back. And we get Paul Trahan and Nolan Ruggs down here. And we'll go ahead and add both of them as well. We're top 2 for both of those guys. So we've added 5 running backs here from the state of Georgia. And already 7 targets on this year's recruiting class. We'll just bypass fullback. And now going to receiver. Do need a couple receivers in this year's class. Israel Benedict, a JUCO. And then all these guys, we're pretty low on their boards. Aside from Patrick Kongbo here. Physical receiver at 6'2", 201. And like I said last episode, I really wish, you at least had access to their bench press, their 40 time, their squat, because it's really just throwing darts here. You don't know really, of course, depending on their tendency, but otherwise you really don't know how their traits are going to be. Now going over to tight end, just 1 tight end ideally in this class. And we're pretty low priority on all these guys' boards. We'll just bypass that for now, because we're going to start off in the state of Georgia, and then we'll go down to Florida, where our recruiting class last year, it was only Georgia and Florida players, excluding the transfer portal, where we branched out a little bit more. Kevin Ellington at offensive tackle, power tendency, first on his board. Same here with Kasim Sanders, power, although Georgia State looks like they're ahead of us right now. Or maybe that's Georgia Southern. Then we got Kasim. Oh, we already talked about Sanders. We'll add him. And then we'll just leave the 2 stars off for now. Already at 10 targets on our board. Go over to guard. And we would like an interior lineman in this class. We'll add Max Trahan, a power guard. Second on his board. Carl Jocelyn, though, we're 4th. But I think we'll just stick with guys for now where we're top 3 or so. At center, we do have Isaiah Irving, although he does come from a JUCO. So I'm a little hesitant. Caleb Butt, 6-foot pass protector. I think we'll just hold off on those guys for now. We still have obviously a few more states to get through. And then at D end, we would like a couple D ends in this class. All these guys, though, outside the top 5 or 5th. So I think Bretton Beach, speed rusher, and Andre Bartu, run stopper at 6'5", 274. Now we'll go to D tackle, and we're pretty set at D tackle, maybe 1 in this class, so we'll go ahead and add Carl Smoker, 6'1", 286 run stopper. At linebacker, we did pretty well with linebacker in our recruiting class, so maybe only 1 or 2 this season. Cameron Chin, we're 4th on his board. He has pass coverage tendency, though. And we'll just go ahead and add him. Middle linebacker, we have Lester Reeves, an athlete linebacker, along with Bruce Surlis, another pass coverage guy. And then at corner, maybe just 1 in this year's class. We are pretty deep at corner. Devin Hollenbach, man-to-man. And the way it's shaping up, most of our guys look to be pretty good man coverage corners. Although the 3 down here, David Clinton, Andre Fox, and Tobias Swope, all zone guys, along here with Dylan Korsak. So this is kind of what I was talking about. Like, all these guys seem to be pretty even, but we don't have any athletic abilities to kind of base off of. You know, like 40 times, squat, bench press. All we have is size and tendency. And it's really not enough, you know, to just decipher who we'd rather add to our recruiting board. So I guess we'll just hold off on those guys for now. At safety, we'd look to bring in probably at least 2. And we'll start here with Isaiah Kubia, Roswell, Georgia. And his zone tendency. Really don't need any run support guys. I think we have an overabundance of that right now. And we do need a punter in this year's class. So Lonnie Hart, 6'5", 217. We'll add him. And then athlete, we did have a couple guys that we added to the board. So that's Georgia. We got 20 targets out of Georgia alone, which doesn't really leave much space going elsewhere. So now we'll look at Florida, which was our second highest state. I mean, like I said, the only other state where we got commits out of. Nothing there for quarterback. Nothing really here for running back. Very low priority on all these guys' boards. Fullback, we'll just bypass that for now. Wide receiver, really nothing showing up. Maybe we'll go by interest instead. Going through Florida. At tight end. Actually, I don't really like that. I'd rather just go by overall rank. Juan Shaw, vertical threat at tight end. Joe Velasco, vertical threat. Blocking there, Kyle Trahan, although he's a JUCO. So we'll just pass that for now. At offensive tackle, really no one interested. Atia Atiambo, we're 7th on his board. At guard, see, yeah, we're really dropping as you go down to Florida. Really no one high priority. No one has us as a high priority, at least as like a top school. I mean, Anthony Casillas here, we're 3rd, but he's already a junior coming out of a JUCO. So I don't know if that really is worthwhile. Although I do like this. Dan Wagner, 495th on the overall board. So I think at this point, he's our highest player that we've added. Now at D end, really all these guys have us really low on their boards. At D tackle. So far, we've only added 1 prospect from the entire state of Florida, and we've already kind of moved our way, obviously, through offense now on defense. At linebacker, Isaac Ty, a run stopper. We didn't get any run stoppers out of Georgia, so we'll add him to the board. Middle linebacker, Spencer Middlebrooks, an athlete, 6'1", 223 star. We'll add him. 4th on his board. Now at corner, we have Alex McDaniel, although a JUCO, so we'll hold off. And then Daryl Johnson, 4th on his board. We'll add him. And like I said, I think we're going to try and hold off on 2 stars for now. Duke Rowe, free safety. Port St. Joe, Florida. We'll add him. And here at strong safety, Kona Grimm, only because he's a hybrid. And he is a sophomore coming out of a JUCO. So we will add him as well. And we did need a punter. I think we did add one from Georgia. We'll add Alex Swift here from Florida, which puts our board now at 27 targets. We'll go over to the recruiting board now. So quarterback, we have one athlete here, Tymon Adams and Deion Kendricks. We only need 1 quarterback in this class, so I think we could just pursue these 2 guys. Hopefully one ends up committing. Running back, we probably need definitely at least 2, maybe even 3 running backs in this class. So I don't mind, having 5 for now. At receiver, probably need 2, and we only have 1 on our board. So definitely going to have to add a couple more receivers to the board. We have to note that as we go back to the prospect list here shortly. No tight ends. We do need 1 tight end, though, in this class. Offensive tackle. Probably want 3 linemen in total in this year's class. We have 4 on the board, so probably want to add another 1 or 2 offensive linemen to the board. Then going to D end. Would like 2 D ends in this class, so maybe another 1 or 2 added to the board. At D tackle, again, we want probably 1 or 2, so maybe add another tackle or 2 to the board. Linebacker, we have 5 guys. Not 5 guys, burgers and fries, but 5 guys on our board. And we only want to bring in 2 linebackers, so I think that's a pretty good ratio for now. At corner, probably just want 1. We have 2 on our board for now. Maybe add 1 more corner. And then safety, like I said, we need 2 or 3, so I think we're going to have to add another safety or 2. So with that, we have 8 more spots. And I don't know if that's enough room, really. Might have to remove the punters in order to get more guys on the board. So we'll just go any state now, and then we'll just kind of sort by interest and see if there's anyone we kind of overlooked from another state. Quarterback, like I said, we're probably good on. Running back, probably good as well. Although we do have some guys here who kind of spark my interest. Sean Bolin, an athlete power back out of Cedar Falls, Iowa. We debut at number 1 on his board, but I would like to kind of stay in our region for the at least the early years of this dynasty. Maybe this year, next year, we kind of stay in our region, and if we enjoy some success, maybe we branch out a little bit more. But I'll just hold off on adding guys outside our region for now. I don't know if anyone else plays it that way, but I kind of like to keep it realistic from that aspect. Kennesaw State, just our second year in the FBS. I don't think, we're going to garner too much interest outside of our region. And at wide receiver, we only have 1 guy who has us in their top 2 or top 5, really. And after that, kind of a big drop off. But we would like another receiver in this class. Looks like George Cabrera, Nick Devy out of Florida. And we have Ahmad Burnett. And these 2 guys, deep threats, so I think I would rather go with one of them. But as I'll keep bringing up, I wish we really could, compare 40 times and bench press all of that at this point. But we'll just go ahead and add Cabrera. Tight end, maybe add 1 more, but we don't really have much interest. Alabama and South Carolina, probably 2 other states we could delve into. So Chuck Countess, an athlete possession tight end. Marcus Gee, 6'2", 225 possession. I think we'll kind of just stick with that 1 tight end we had on our board for now. Then offensive tackle, so we have Sergio Rossau out of Philly and John Nitschke out of Oklahoma. But like I said, 2 guys kind of out of our region right now. Dorian Demaret, JUCO. Then we have another guy here, Kevin Hanna out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Andre Cloud from Wisconsin. So some of these guys, we would take a flyer on, but just being outside the region, don't want to really go with that quite yet. So with 2 tackles, I think we'll leave it at that for now. Maybe add 1 more interior lineman. And North Carolina, I think I could make an exception there for North Carolina, very close here to Georgia. So we'll add John Lawrence, 6'3", 330 power tendency. And I think we want some more power guys on our line. I think this last cycle we brought in a lot of guys with the pass protector tendency, so we need to kind of balance that out a little bit. Now going to center, we have a bunch of guys here at the top, a bunch of 3-stars, and we have John Volson here at Oklahoma City, Eric Malveaux out of Arkansas, both athletes. All the top 4 guys here are all athletes, really not in states that we're pursuing or really scouting guys at quite yet. Isaiah Irving, I think we'll just add him power tendency, although he does come from a JUCO, but he is only a sophomore. I think we'll just leave the offensive lineman like that for now at D end. Wanted to maybe add another 1 or 2 to the board. So we have Russ Kafka here out of a JUCO, but he's probably more of an interior guy at 6'2", 298. Just take a flyer on him as well. See how he comes back after scouting. What do we got going with D tackle? We did just add one more guy. Probably going to pursue at D tackle. I think we'll add Steven Square here. Wetumpka, Alabama. Gage Wells, Decatur, Alabama. Jason Russo out of Mississippi. I think we'll just leave that intact like that for now. Kind of keep moving through. So we have 3 more spots now on the board. And I think linebacker, we pretty much were well covered. Although Marquis Moroncola looks like a pretty good player. 600th on the overall board. Go ahead and add him. Matt Bayer, Oradell, New Jersey. Well out of our region. And Moroncola from Kansas. I mean, we'll just make an exception there as well, I guess. At corner, just a bunch of 2-stars up here. We do have a 3-star here in Andre Fox and Tobias Swope. Kind of want to add both of them as well, but we do need some space here for safeties. Probably need to add another safety to our board. Although really no one worthwhile here. Maybe Ben Humphreys out of Cochran, Georgia, over at strong safety. Bradley Westbrook, Athens, Tennessee. I think Tennessee, another state we could maybe delve into in a limited sample size, I guess, works. So I think I will add these other 2 corners, and then we'll scout, do our initial scouting here in the offseason, and both of these Georgia guys, so that works. And then we'll pluck a few guys off depending on who comes back as a bust. So at running back, we have 5 guys. I like to go for positions where we have a kind of a big list of guys and then kind of trim down from there. Probably linebacker is probably a good place to start. We have 6 linebackers. We'll go ahead and start scouting all these guys. Cameron Chin, 6 foot, 238 pass coverage, 72 tackle, just 76 agility, 81 speed, 75 zone, 89 acceleration, 80 pursuit. Does have road dog and clear-headed. Nothing special. I wish the speed was a little bit better there for a coverage linebacker, and the man coverage very low at just 56. But, does have good traits as a coverage linebacker, especially he was a little more athletic. Now, Isaac Ty, run stopper out of Miami. 82 pursuit, 71 play rec, 70 tackle, 81 acceleration. And he is a bust. Only 70 block shed, only 55 zone coverage, and only 75 speed. So we will just go ahead and remove Isaac Ty. Now here's Marquis Moroncola, the lone Kansas recruit we have on the board. Only 80 acceleration after initial scouting, 68 block shed, only 54 zone, 59 awareness. But he is a gem. 83 speed, 83 pursuit. Not going to offer much in coverage, but you do like that run stopping capability, and you like the gem tag no matter really what their traits are looking like. So we'll go ahead and make Marquis Moroncola the first scholarship offer in this year two of this Kennesaw State Dynasty. Now at middle linebacker, whoops, did not mean to do that. Lester Reeves, an athlete, 82 tackle, 75 strength, 84 agility, 85 acceleration, awareness pretty low. The zone at 71, the speed at 90, and the block shed at 72. So Lester Reeves looks to be a very good linebacker with good athletic traits and a pretty balanced skill set as well with the zone coverage, the block shed, the pursuit, all there in the low 70s. So we'll offer him a scholarship as well. So that's two linebackers we offered scholarships to. And as I said earlier, do want to bring in 2 linebackers in this class. Now, Bruce Searless, pass coverage out of Calhoun, Georgia, 86 acceleration, only 65 zone, 86 speed, 58 man coverage. Looks to be a solid linebacker, but nothing special. So Reeves is a run stopper, and Moroncola is also a run stopper. So ideally, we pursue someone who's a pass coverage or field general to kind of counter those guys. So 86 acceleration, 69 block shed for Spencer Middlebrooks, Pensacola, Florida. 89 speed, 72 strength. What's the coverage? 71 zone, which isn't terrible. It is better than Bruce Searless here. Decent block shed. Very good athlete with that 89 speed, 87 agility, 86 acceleration. Even though I said we would like a guy with a little different skill set, I think we'll actually go ahead and offer Chin and Middlebrooks. Does that mean we should just take Bruce Sirlis off? I mean, he has pretty good speed as well. 86 speed. 73 pursuit. Only 65 zone, though. Middlebrooks higher zone coverage. And then we have Chin over here, 75 zone. Not as fast as the other guys, though. But does bring that different tendency. But we are going to go ahead and offer Middlebrooks. We'll just offer Chin as well. And that's it for linebackers. So we want to bring in 2. We have 5 on our board. I think that's a pretty good haul to work off of. Now at corner, I guess we will go with corner as well. Only really need 1. But we have 4 on the board. So time to kind of decipher who's the guy to go after. So initially there, Devin Hollenbach, a bust. Daryl Johnson, 88 speed. Another bust as well. Only 70 man, 68 zone. Now Andre Fox, 87 speed, 66 man, 77 zone. More of a zone corner, does fit that tendency. Tobias Swope, 56 tackle, 91 speed, 71 man, 75 zone, 70 press. So really none of these guys anything special. And of course we see here Daryl Johnson, Devin Hollenbach get that bust tag. 87 speed for Fox, 91 for Swope. And Swope does have more balanced coverage traits. Less of a tackler, though. But does have a good play rec there at 68. So I think Swope will offer him. And he's going to be our priority at corner. Looking at safety, we only have 3 guys for safety. I think now we'll kind of move through offensive line. We'll see who kind of stands out here, especially between these 2 tackles. So both are power tendency. 66 run block, 87 strength, 83 impact, 66 pass block. Just have a couple mental abilities. Definitely a good, power tackle. Lives up to that tendency. But 59 speed, a little bit slow there around the edge. And now what about Kasim Sanders? 80 impact, 77 for run block power, pass block power, 71 run block, and 69 pass block. So he does get that bust tag. And I feel like his traits are a little bit better than Ellington there. But I think I'd rather go with Ellington just because, he's not a bust. So we'll offer him a scholarship. Now we'll go through the interior guys. 62 awareness for Max Trahan. And just like the guys ahead of him, 77 pass block, run block power, 85 strength, 74 run block, 73 lead, 85 impact. We don't see pass blocking. I think Trahan will go ahead and offer a scholarship to. Scout John Lawrence here out of Rollsville, North Carolina. 81 lead, 83 impact, 74 run block, 85 strength. And he is a bust. Now going over to center, Dan Wagner, 85 strength, 81 impact, 57 speed, 71 run block. Another bust offensive lineman. I don't think we've gotten any gems, maybe just 1 gem this whole scouting cycle. And wow, that leaves us only 5 hours to work with. So we did kind of breeze through that. I think we'll just go ahead and remove the guys who came back as busts just to create a little more space on the board. So Sanders will take him off. John Lawrence will take him off. Wagner will take him off. So that does slim down our offensive line board a lot. I want to bring in 3 guys, only 3 guys now left to work with, but we'll recoup at least 1 or 2 more targets there. So we have 5 points left to work with. I mean, might as well just offer a scholarship to somebody. Then we'll go over to running back. And now in hindsight, I kind of wish we dove into running backs a little bit. But seeing as how Kevin Page is the highest rated player as far as running backs go, we'll just go ahead and offer him a scholarship. So that leaves us with 4 spots to add players. think Hollenbach, we'll just remove him as well. Take one last look at his traits. 91 speed. I mean, he is probably the fastest, tied there with Swope, of all the corners we have. So I think we'll just leave Hollenbach. 70 man. Don't even see his zone, so his coverage trait's probably very poor. Daryl Johnson. We'll remove him as well. We'll just leave Hollenbach for now. So that leaves us 5 spots to add prospects to. So quarterback haven't really touched quite yet. Running back, we're pretty set with 5 recruits at this point. Wide receiver, we didn't really have anything going for wide receiver. Probably do want to add a tight end. Maybe another lineman or a tackle specifically. I guess it really doesn't matter. At D end, wanted to bring in 2, have 3 on the board, so maybe 1 more D end. D tackle, 1 or 2. I think we'll be fine with just 1 in this class. So hopefully we can just bring in 1 of Carl Smoker or Steven Square. Linebacker, we already kind of went through. We have 5 guys to choose from. Corner, Swope is going to be the guy we pursue. At safety, we have 3 guys. Probably need to add 1 more safety. And we have those 2 punters as well. I don't know if we really need to keep both of these. We'll just, so we're 4th for both. We'll just keep Lonnie Hart. He's the in-state guy. We'll take off Swift. So that leaves us now 6 spots. And we could go ahead and add some more players. So we'll start at tight end, because we don't even have a tight end on the board. And at this point, we'll just kind of go by interest. So we had to kind of look at both of these guys, Marcus Gee and Chuck Countess, both possession guys. I don't know if it pays more to go for an athlete rather than just going for a straight-up tight end. We did that last year with Jermichael Braham. He was an athlete. Didn't really look like anything special, but he came back and he actually was a gem. So that really worked out for us. Juan Shaw, I mean, we could use a vertical threat. I think all our tight ends currently are blocking or possession. So I think it might pay to get someone with a little bit different skill set, although I do prefer the other ones. But I think it'd be good to bring in someone a little bit more athletic. So I think we'll add Juan Shaw. And I'm kind of torn here between Chuck Countess and Marcus Gee. But I think Gee, being from Alabama, it's more of our pipeline rather than Kentucky. I think we'll add Gee. So we have 4 spots to work with. Want to add an offensive lineman. Nitschke out of Oklahoma. Rousseau out of Philly. We don't really get many left tackles. I think every single tackle, even going back to last year, that we've added to the board has been a right tackle. Not that I think it makes too much of a difference. You could always, move a guy over to left tackle if you need to. You have Jeremiah Briggs, Malik Miranda, more right tackles. And the guys up here, not really in our pipeline. Sergio Rousseau, though, top 1,000 prospect. Although John Nitschke here, left tackle from Oklahoma. We'll just go ahead and add Nitschke, the agile tendency. John Lawrence came back as a bust. I wish it kind of showed their bust tag, on their profile here on the right side, just to show that we have scouted them already, that they have come back as a bust. Center, we did have a lot of interest here at center. I think we'll just go ahead and add John Volson as well. Eric Malvo, both these guys, Volson a top 500 prospect. Malvo just outside at 515. Wagner here was a top 500 guy. He came back as a bust. But we also want to add another DN and another safety. So we could get away with adding 1 more center here. I'm just not quite sure who. All these guys, pretty high up the board. We'll just bypass for now. Now DN, want to add 1 more to the board here. We have three 3-stars up here at the top. We'll go down a little bit more here. We have a few more 3-stars, and like I said earlier, really no way to differentiate any of these guys. Sonny Easy, Charles McGriff, Armand Fisk, and Zach Peralta. So these guys a little bit heavier, 278, 279. Then we have Armand Fisk here, a run stopper. Zach Peralta, also a run stopper. These guys 721, 659. Let's actually look at our recruiting board. I think one of our DNs was more of a D tackle type guy. Yeah, so Russ Kafka, he is a JUCO, and he would play D tackle. I don't think we really need a JUCO guy, but he is 524th nationally. I wish he was someone I scouted now, because I feel like it's pretty easy to tell if a JUCO is going to be good or not, especially if they come back with that gem tag. So all these guys a little bit heavier, 274, 271. We'd like to bring in, I guess, more of a speed rush type guy. And it looks like that it will be Sonny Easy, 6 foot, 278. Bear with me here. So we have Sonny Easy, all these guys from South Carolina. 6'5", 251, 6'5", 252. I guess Sonny Easy will be the guy we add for now. We'll go over to safety now. Have to add some guys here. Isaiah Kugbia already have on the board. So I think we'll add Ben Humphreys. We talked about him. Zone safety. Now at strong safety, we'll add one more player. And I think we'll go with Bradley Westbrook, hybrid out of Athens, Tennessee. So that is the recruiting board here. I'd love to know your thoughts about how I kind of assembled it. I have, my set needs that I need. Then we kind of go from there. We kind of look at Georgia, Florida, branched out a little bit to, I guess, Alabama, South Carolina. So I will reorder this board. And, of course, next week we'll be able to scout a little bit more and kind of prepare and put together our recruiting strategy here for this year 2 season. And now we'll just come over here, look at my school, and see how we match up here for these categories in recruitment pitches. So playing style obviously just depends on the position. Proximity to home, of course, dependent on the prospect. And then championship contender, D-. Blue chip ratio, 0%. We're currently 125th in the media poll. Although, we have jumped up substantially. We've went from a 72 overall or 73 overall program now up to 81 overall. And I believe last I checked, we did have the highest ranking in the Conference USA, which would be a monumental turnaround from last season. D- from program tradition, D- brain exposure, D+ pro potential, D- stadium atmosphere, C- campus lifestyle, not too bad compared to the rest. D- academic prestige, C for conference prestige, C- coach stability, D for coach prestige, D for athletic facilities, and then playing time, which of course is dependent on the position. So we hope to do a lot of growth here in year 2, especially with what seems to be a more talented roster. We are now here at custom schedules, and I based the schedule off of the real-life Kennesaw State schedule for the 2025 season. So they do open at Wake Forest, and then they go to Indiana. So the Demon Deacons opening at 22 in the national poll. So we're going to be facing our first-ranked opponent here in this dynasty. It might be a tough week 1 there, but we'll see how we fare against an ACC program. The Demon Deacons 9-4 last season. And then we head to Bloomington, Indiana. The Hoosiers 8-5 last year. A very good season there. We have a bye. And then we'll have our first home game here in week 4 against Arkansas State. They went 5-7. And then this one is a game I added myself. The only games, on the Kennesaw State schedule for next year were these top 3. So this one I took the liberty of adding Georgia State for our first ever rivalry game in this dynasty. Georgia State 5-7 last year. That should be a good one. We're going to try and play them every year from here on out. We'll have another bye week before heading into conference play, where we'll open with Western Kentucky. They had 10 wins last year, but we actually upset them in a triple overtime, probably the most fun game there in year 1, where we took down the Hilltoppers. We go to UTEP, I think another team we beat last year. We had 3 wins, one against an FCS school, and then we beat Western Kentucky, and I believe UTEP. So we'll have 4 straight home games before our conference opener on the road, which will be at Florida International. They played in the conference championship last year. We'll have a home game against Middle Tennessee State, and it'll be at Jacksonville State, who did win Conference USA. They won the conference last year, 10-4, 7-1 in conference play. And heading into conference championship week, they held a spot in the college football playoff, but they lost to Florida International. So actually, I take that all back. The Gamecocks did not win the conference last year. It was Florida International as they upset the Gamecocks and kind of played spoiler there from Jacksonville State going to the college football playoff. That will be at New Mexico State, only a 3-win team last year. We had more conference wins than they did. We'll have our senior day versus Louisiana Tech before finishing at Liberty, a very good team there for Liberty, the Flames, 9 wins last year. And Kaidon Salter actually enters as the Heisman favorite this season. And just like that, we're now into the year 2 season. We're here in week 0 of 2025. We'll get on the top stories. Looks like we have a nice ranked matchup here in week 0 between number 7 Notre Dame, number 18 Syracuse. Fresno State, I can't remember if they won the Mountain West or if UNLV did in that game where both teams scored over 50, went to a few overtimes. The Jayhawks coming at 16. And then here's the top 25, just a little look there. Alabama opens at number 1, but we'll get a more expanded look here as we go over to the preseason top 25. And the national championship last year was Ohio State, Alabama, although the Buckeyes did win, but still the Crimson Tide opened at number 1, and the Buckeyes there at number 2. They have a game in week 0 against UConn, and then in week 1 they play Texas, who opens here at number 5. That's got to be one of the most marketed week 1 games, maybe even one of the most marketed games in college football history between Ohio State and Texas to open this season, although the Buckeyes will have a warm-up game there against the Huskies first. Virginia Tech, very surprising to see them here at number 3. Clemson at number 4, then Texas, as we said, rounds out the top 5. Louisville at number 6, Notre Dame at 7, Utah, the top-rated Big 12 team at number 8, North Carolina number 9, and Arkansas at number 10. Now at number 11, the Hurricanes, Colorado at 12. They made the playoff last year along with Rutgers here. Oregon at 14, Georgia rounds out the top 15. Kansas, Oklahoma State, and then Syracuse still open at Notre Dame there in South Bend. Florida, Penn State at number 20. Texas A&M, then Wake Forest, who we will open against in week 1. Open at number 22 this season, followed by NC State, Auburn, and then the Michigan Wolverines rounding us out there at number 25. And now we are here at the Heisman Watch, and we see Kaidon Salter enters as the favorite this year. 96 overall, the highest rated player in the nation. We'll take a look at the overall player ratings here in a few moments. Jadyn Ott, number 2, the top running back in the country. Connor Wagman of Texas A&M, and then Dylan Sampson and Nico Iamaleava. There we go. As both of them making up the Tennessee backfield enter the Heisman Watch in the top 5 this season. As I said, we will take a look at the overall top-rated players here throughout college football for the 2025 season. Kaidon Salter enters at 98 overall after, I guess, has some training boosts or some progression boosts from his coaches. And he's now 98, the highest rated player in the country. No 99s this season. Caleb Downs, 97 overall free safety, a true junior there for Ohio State. Bear Alexander, the top defensive tackle in the nation, 96 overall from USC. Nick Martin, the top linebacker at 96, Oklahoma State. Jacob Manu from Arizona. Jadyn Ott we saw there in the Heisman Watch. Josh Connerly Jr., the top-rated offensive lineman, tied here with Jonah Savaiinaea. I think we'll go with that pronunciation. Tyler Booker here of Alabama. Jermaine Matthews Jr., the top corner in the nation out of Ohio State. Gavin Sawchuk, Oklahoma, one of the top running backs. Dante Corleone here for Notre Dame actually transfers from Cincinnati. So a very big get there from the Fighting Irish in the transfer portal. At middle linebacker, Deontay Lawson, Tulane. Damian Martinez from Miami, one of the top running backs. Sonny Styles, Kenneth Grant, a couple Big Ten linebackers. Now we'll go down by position. And as we saw, Salter, who we will finish the season with, will play Liberty there in the final week, as we just saw a little bit earlier in this episode. Wagman, Drew Aller there from Penn State. Noah Fafita, Arizona. Cade Klubnik. Arch Manning now set for his first full season as a starter there with Texas. Avery Johnson, Miller Moss, some more big names up here. Haynes King. Go over to running back. Jadyn Ott, the top player there. CJ Baxter of Texas. Dylan Sampson there in the Heisman Watch. Trevor Etienne. Jam Miller. Fullback. We have an 89 overall fullback there from Navy. At wide receiver, the top wide receiver in the nation, Barrion Brown there from Kentucky, followed by Evan Stewart of Oregon, and Twain Wells Jr. from Ole Miss. Elijah Surratt, who we will see here in week 2 when we visit Bloomington and the Hoosiers. So we're going to be going up against a top 5 wide receiver there in week 2 in Elijah Surratt. Zachariah Branch from USC, Kevin Concepcion, NC State, Isaiah Bond from Texas, Jeremiah Smith, a true sophomore, had over 1,500 receiving yards last year, I believe, as a true freshman, one of the best pound-for-pound players in all of college football. And we have Donovan Green here, who we'll see in week 1. Might as well take a look at his player card, as that star dev, a redshirt senior, 4-star recruit back in the day. 99 there for hands. 99 catching, 98 spec catch, 93 catch in traffic. Very good with the ball in his hands. One of the best receivers in all of college football. For mentals, has clear-headed fan favorite and road dog, although he will be playing at home. Let's take a look at his stats from last year. Donovan Green, over 1,250 receiving yards, 16.7 per catch, 12 touchdowns, and a long of 84. We're certainly going to have our hands full there with Green in week 1, so stay tuned for that. Next episode, Mason Taylor, the top tight end out of LSU. Harold Fannin Jr., very good player there for Bowling Green. Jack Velling, I believe, went to Oregon in the transfer portal. At left tackle, we have another Oregon Duck here, Josh Connerly Jr., Jalen Rivers from Miami. Left guard, Tyler Booker from Alabama. A bunch of SEC guys here, although we do see Thomas Schrader there representing App State. And center Drew Candle from Boston College. Going to bid for the Remington this year, along with Lyndon Cooper. Jake Slaughter there from Florida. Right guard, Jaden Roberts. So Alabama has the top left guard and the top right guard, as you would probably expect. Not too surprising there. At right tackle, Arizona guy Jonah Savai-Nadie. I'm not going to pronounce that again this episode, I promise. Emory Jones goes to Texas State from LSU, the third-ranked right tackle this season. Now over to defense, Trey Moore, Nick Scourton from Texas A&M, very talented pass rushers there. Reuben Bain Jr. reminds me of Rob Bain there from our Marquette Dynasty, for those who remember him. 2 Texas A&M guys here in Cassius Howell and Shamar Stewart. TJ Bush there from Liberty, go back to him. We saw him last season, we'll see him again this year. Only a junior at 88 overall. Tyreek Sapp. Abdul Carter from Penn State, a very good pass rusher. Boubacar Traore from Notre Dame. Marvin Jones Jr., Florida State. D tackle, we already saw Barrett Alexander Corleone, the Cincinnati transfer there to Notre Dame. Peter Woods from Clemson. Kenneth Grant, Michigan. 2 guys here from Florida State. Looks like they have a very good interior going into this season. At linebacker, Sonny Styles from Ohio State. Elijah Herring. A lot of times I'll be talking here in these episodes, and during editing I just realized I say the totally wrong thing. Like, I think earlier I was saying off-season recruiting when I meant to say preseason recruiting. So a mishap there on my part. Jyshawn Barham there from Michigan. 2 middle linebackers here from Notre Dame. 1 a sophomore, Kingston Viliamo Asa. Right outside linebacker, we already talked about Jacob Manu. Anthony Hill Jr. from Texas. CJ Hicks from Ohio State. So the Buckeyes, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, very good linebacking cores, it looks like. Now at corner, Jermaine Matthews Jr., the top guy there from Ohio State. Then Takario Davis transfers to Oregon from Arizona. So we saw Jack Velling at tight end for the Ducks, and now they have the number 2 ranked corner coming over in the transfer portal as well. So the Ducks trying to rise in the Big Ten this year after missing the playoff last year. Maxwell Hairston, another transfer as he goes to Penn State. I think he came from Kentucky, if I'm not mistaken. Julian Humphrey from Georgia. Malik Muhammad, Texas. Toriano Pride Jr. there from Missouri. Dalen Everett. And Davison Igbenosun, I think he won the Thorpe Award last year. Does it tell us the hardware they've accumulated over their career? I think it should in stats, maybe. Awards. I could have swore he had an award last year. In my spreadsheet, I'm pretty sure that he had an award, but maybe I'll have to double check that. And like I said, I do have a spreadsheet that keeps track of, each season, and I keep that in the description of every episode. So if you're interested, You can obviously click on the link and just kind of scroll through there, keep track of our recruiting classes, our transfer portals, the awards, our player stats each season. Definitely like to keep records here of all these dynasties. Safety, a few guys up here. Now strong safety, Kevin Winston from Penn State. Another Big Ten guy there. Xavier Nwakpa from Iowa. And kicker, we have a 90 overall kicker here, Alex McPherson, 96 power, 99 accuracy, 74 speed. And then at punter, Max Fletcher, the top guy there from Cincinnati. And now that we previewed the top 25, looked at the Heisman Watch, the top-rated players, position by position throughout the country, we'll just kind of breeze through the depth chart here. And we are going to open with Davis Bryson as the Week 1 starter. He started all 12 games last year, really got his footing as we went along. Devon Stanzi will serve as the backup early on. I thought he would come in at like a 66, 67 overall, so right where I kind of expected him to be, coming in as an athlete quarterback, comparing the athletic traits. A little bit faster, better acceleration than Bryson, but the agility and change of direction does go to Bryson. Stanzi a little bit stronger. Throw power pretty much the same, along with short accuracy. Stanzi a little more accurate in the middle aspects of the field, whereas Bryson a little bit better in the deep accuracy, but really no big disparities there. Pretty even for throw on the run, although throw under pressure, Stanzi a big edge, already better in break sack. Pretty even in play action, but Bryson has very good ball carrier traits, 85 vision, 93 juke. Did not think he had a 93 juke, 83 break tackle, so he is a better ball carrier right now than Stanzi. Not quite as athletic, but really, they're pretty neck and neck. So I think we'll just ride it with Bryson, but definitely expect to see Stanzi, although we will probably opt to give him a red shirt at some point. At running back, we'll open with Gavin Garcia as the starter, the transfer from Kent State, 91 speed, 95 acceleration, very dynamic athlete, although he will split time there with Gabriel Benyard. Benyard, our first team All-American last year nationally, not just in the conference, but nationally. I want to say around 1,500 yards from scrimmage as he fills in as a slot receiver and running back. But we also have Quay Ashley, who jumped up a lot there in the preseason, and DJ Scott had a few touchdowns last year in his freshman year, our lone power back option. At wide receiver, Christian Moss, we still will have as our number one guy, only like 15 catches all of last year, but I think this season we'll have a little more production in the passing game. Bryce Dobson saw a huge bump up after training there in the offseason, as he's now our highest rated player at receiver, but we will just keep Moss above him. I really like the speed, acceleration, agility, change of direction here from Dobson, although the catching trait's not as good as Moss, but he is a little bit better of a route runner. In the slot, Blake Bohannon proved to be very clutch last year in short yardage, kind of moving the sticks for us, so I think we'll alternate him and Benyard in the slot. Tykeem Wallace, probably our most athletic player on offense. Gonna mix him in a little bit. And then Ollie Joyner, a redshirt freshman, had a big bump up. I want to say he went up at least like 12 overall points in training. And let me know, I had some crazy bump ups. We'll see some more late as we got on the depth chart. But I had one player at corner went up literally 30 points. Is that is something wrong with my progression, or is that really just a disparity in this year's game? Can players, I know he'll probably level out, at 82. I think he went up from a 52 to an 82, and that's Q Billingsley, a corner we'll talk about here shortly. But obviously he probably plateaus there at 82, but is it, abnormal for a player to go up that much in one offseason? Because Joyner, he went up not as much as Billingsley, but Joyner, like I said, went up a good bit as well. A deep threat here, Monty Sahara, a JUCO we brought in, and I think I might move him over Joyner just because Sahara is really our only receiver with size, and he's our only receiver with that physical tendency. So I think someone in a 5-receiver set just chucking the ball downfield with that 87 spec catch, 92 speed, and he had very good jumping as well there at 94. Certainly would like to get him involved this season as well. I'm going to try and hold off on redshirting JUCOs, even though we only did bring in one, but I might even just, throw the red shirt there on for Sahara after 4 games. At tight end, Carson Kent is going to be a starter again this year, his second season, I guess the third season. I think he was a freshman starter as well. We'll have Chris Stewart, the transfer from Nebraska, going to be a blocking guy there as our tight end too. And then I had a lot of indifference when I was kind of slating this offensive line and piecing it together. JT Pennington will return as our starter at left tackle. I like his run blocking traits, 90 lead block, 86 impact. So we do tend to run to the left side a little bit more than the right. So I kind of like having a more of a run blocker on that side. Trey Butts is going to be our swing tackle, a very athletic offensive tackle, but really struggles against power guys, only 61 pass block power and 73 run block power. So need him to get a little stronger in those phases. Otherwise, he's a very well-rounded offensive lineman. Christopher Kane, just a depth guy here, as our third left tackle on the depth chart. At left guard, we're going to throw Kalari Gordon in, a redshirt last year, but now a 78 overall here as a redshirt freshman. Only 49 speed, but 92 strength, an absolute mauler as a run blocker. Very good against power with 86 run block power, 80 pass block power, 96 lead block, 86 impact. So he's 6'4", 330, and then we'll just jump over to right guard real quick. And we're going to have Zacchaeus Williams return as our starter at right guard, although Ethan Newman, I always call him Evan Newman. Ethan Newman is going to kind of fill in as our backup left guard, backup right guard, backup center, and maybe we'll even throw him in at right tackle if it doesn't work out for Dodge Soser. Soser did start last year at from week one at right tackle, but then kind of lost the job as we went along. But we're going to put him back out there as he is probably our best pass blocker, although he did commit a lot of penalties last year. And we'll have Butts as his backup as our swing tackle. Newman, he did start a lot at left guard, but with the emergence here of Gordon, we're going to try and give him some early experience. And then at center, Nate Wright, our highest rated offensive lineman, will be our starting center again this year. Now going over to defense, Donovan Westmoreland led our team in sacks last year with 7. We really hope he can keep that up. And we do have him for another season after this one. Ramonte Darty, another guy who rose up a lot, maybe like 20 overall points or so during off-season training. Really like that 92 strength, 75 power move, 78 finesse move, 73 block shed. So not really athletic. I mean, he's not bad, I guess, with 83 agility at 6'3", 240. Wish he was a little bit faster there around the edge, but you love that strength, and he can, beat blocks. But I just don't know how explosive he can be off the edge. And Tyler Anger, 70 overall D-end athlete. Love how he kind of panned out with very good speed and acceleration, very good strength. With that 89 strength and that size, we're actually going to have him as a defensive tackle in some nickel sets. Good pass rushing traits pretty much from the get-go, although we really wish that block shed was a little bit better. At right end, Jordan Miles is going to be the starter again. Missed like the last 3 games there at the end of the year 1 season due to injury. Jackson Colvin, we'll have him as our backup. And then also have Marquez Stevens, who will give a red shirt to after 4 games. At D tackle, Adam Watkins returns after he was threatening to transfer away, but we're really happy to have him back. And Aaron Bryant, the Texas transfer, will be on the interior along with him. And then Jalen Jarrett and Dylan Hannon each saw very good progression in offseason training. Also along here with Jaden Grimes. All these guys I want to say were in the 50s to low 60s. And now Jarrett and Hannon in the mid 70s. And Grimes just a freshman at 65. We also do have Rudy Teray down here, 69 overall D tackle. But I think we'll redshirt him to start. Might mix him in at some point. At left outside linebacker, J.D. Stewart. So last year we primarily ran a 4-2-5, ran some nickel, but we did add a 4-3 set, or a few 4-3 sets, and a couple 3-4 sets to the defensive playbook to kind of open things up a little bit, give us some more flexibility, versatility on the defensive side of the ball. So we will see some 3 linebacker sets this year, unlike last year where it was primarily just 2 linebackers out there at all times. So Daneus Johnson, our highest rated player at 89 overall, I believe a second-team All-American last year, if not nationally, then in Conference USA play. Garland Benyard, the brother, I believe, of Gabriel Benyard, our standout offensive playmaker, going to start there at right outside linebacker. And corner, where I had, it was really tough to kind of sort our corner situation. And this is what I was talking about. Hugh Billingsley was a 52 overall during the offseason, and then after training went all the way up to an 82. And I would have him as our number 1 guy, but Hollum a little bit more experienced. But he's a much better athlete with much better speed, acceleration, although Billingsley is better in change of direction with that 99. But Billingsley, I don't know how he's going to be able to keep up in man coverage with some speedier receivers, but he has very good play rec, 83 man, 80 press, and most of our corners here primarily man coverage corners, so we are probably going to run a lot more man this season with Helllooo and Billingsley as our top two guys. And then I was really struggling to kind of figure out who to play in the slot. I like Devin Ross with that good man coverage, very good athletic traits there with 94 acceleration, 91 speed, and 95 change of direction. But that 63 awareness and play rec did kind of turn me off, although he does have good press there at 70. So kind of compared here to Javon Rogers, who's more of a zone guy. So I'd kind of prefer him in dime sets, I guess, as opposed to nickel, where Ross can kind of stick with guys in man coverage. And then down here, Terez Hamilton, another guy like Billingsley, who was completely off the radar, but ended up jumping up a lot after training, has 99 change of direction along there with Billingsley. See, I don't know if this was a glitch. Like, do these guys, are they supposed to have 99 change of direction and jump up so much? And he's kind of similar to Billingsley up here, high man coverage ratings, but low zone. Although no press here for Hamilton at just 60. And then we will have a couple more corners down here. Zeke Shockey, the highest rated player overall-wise that we brought in. He was a gem, 74 overall. Very good athletics there with 93 speed. 82 man, but just 56 zone. So I don't know how much we'll mix him in, if at all, but definitely a candidate to play 4 games, if not just being a full-out redshirt. Then we have Nick Sawyer, who started pretty much every game in the slot. You know, one of the more experienced corners on this team, but he didn't really progress at all in the offseason, and his coverage rating is really nothing special. And at safety, we'll have Brandon Hillman starting at free safety, the Michigan transfer, one of the most talented players on this defense. Good athletic traits compared to what we've been working with at safety. 76 man, 78 zone, and he's good in the box with that 82 hit power, 86 pursuit, and the highest block shed of compared to most of our safeties. Jam Warren, of course, will mix in for his senior season as our third safety, and Isaac Paul played a little bit as a freshman last year. We'll get him mixed in as well. And then Sidney Porter, I believe, was second on our team in tackles last year. We'll put him over at strong safety. Very good run support guy. And then we'll have Warren there as the backup, as he'll be on the field a lot. And then Nari Biggins comes over, I believe, from, I forget what school Nari Biggins was at, but was looking for playing time, and with the some growth we had in the defensive backfield, I don't know if he's really going to find the field too much. At kicker, we'll stick with Britton Williams, even though it was a poor season last year. Although we have some competition this year. Eric Cavillo, very, very accurate guy at 84, and only sacrificed 3 kick power points compared to Williams. So if Williams doesn't really get it going early on, I think we'll just opt to go with the young guy here and start the Eric Cavillo tenure at Kennesaw State. Joshua Hewitt, his senior season now, was a second-team all-conference last year. Tykeem Wallace will keep as our kick returner, with Gabriel Benyard contributing as well. We might get Zeke Shockey mixed in there a little bit. At punt returner, we'll go with the Kent State transfer in Gavin Garcia. Benyard might get mixed in a little bit. Long snapper, we just always go with our center, so it'll be Nate Wright. Our third down back, of course, will be Gabriel Benyard, at which point I think Blake Bohannon will then go into the slot. Power back's going to be DJ Scott. Slot receiver primarily Gabriel Benyard, but like I said, Blake Bohannon will get mixed in there as well. We'll have Westmoreland and Jordan Miles as our rushers off the edge in sub packages, and then at D tackle we'll have Watkins and Tyler Anger, as I said. So Bryant's going to be out there, but really only in 4-3 sets. 3-4 sets are 4-2-5. And sub linebackers will have Danius Johnson and J.D. Stewart to start, although depending on the play of Stewart, we might just put Benyard in that slot. And speaking of the slot, we're going to have Devin Ross open, although we'll keep our eye on it, and maybe we'll mix in Rogers and Hamilton at times. And now to close this episode, we'll run down the recruiting board one more time, as I have went ahead and just distributed all these points, kind of did that offline just to, shorten this video a little bit. I tend to keep these preview episodes for the upcoming season a little bit shorter, but this one kind of dragged on a little bit with our opening recruiting phases. So Bradley Westbrook, a hybrid safety, opens at our top target, in this year's recruiting cycle. a gem. I think it's very hard to get good hybrid safeties. And Westbrook, I mean, his playing traits aren't the best, but if you look at the athletics with that 95 speed, 89 agility, like the 74 man, he can develop into a very, very talented player for us. And in our 4.25 base, a safety is all that more valuable. So we offered him here. Memphis, number 1 right now, is the lone team to offer him. We haven't scouted any running backs yet, but we do need at least 2, ideally 3 in this year's class. Kevin Page, the highest rated out of McDonough, Georgia. Power back, 6 foot 225. We'll scout him next week. Lester Reeves, a gem linebacker we offered. We need 2 linebackers, and I think Reeves will be one of them, hopefully, with that 90 speed, 75 strength, and the block shed zone coverage there in the low 70s, along with the pursuit, and already a good tackler. So Reeves has a very good athletic profile, a good play profile to kind of build off of already. Marquis Moroncola, he is listed at linebacker, but at 6'1", 245 with 79 strength, no coverage traits whatsoever. I think he's a guy we could maybe put at D-end, assuming he has somewhat of pass rushing traits, but he has that gem tag, so I feel like wherever we put him, he'll kind of develop into a solid player at least. And we do want 1 quarterback in this class, and that's going to be Deion Kendricks. Hopefully only 2 offers right now, Marshall being the other school. 88 throw power, good accuracy traits already with 84 speed, 85 agility, 75 break sack. Good deep ball there at 83, and can throw on the run and under pressure. John Nitschke, a guy we kind of added a little bit late, and teams are already in on him, so I think that's a good sign. We haven't scouted him, but I think he's going to be a talented offensive tackle. We don't have any guys really with that agile tendency, so I think we could use that just to give us a little more variety up front. Probably will scout him next week. And we burned a lot of points in scouting, which is why we're not really pouring many hours into recruits right now, but I think it's kind of important to get the scouting out of the way, and then we can kind of just focus on contacting these players and pouring in hours in that aspect rather than scouting them. But we do have some players left to scout heading into next week, but we're going to free up a lot of hours as well. So D-tackle, going to bring in 2 guys probably. We just offered Steven Square and Carl Smoker this week, although we do have to scout both of them. Vanderbilt, the only other team to offer Square, and then Middle Tennessee State, the only other team to offer Smoker. Alonzo Irving here, we offered him, as we hope to bring him in as one of our linebackers in this class. 6'2", 227 athlete with that power back tendency, so he looks to be just an absolute load back there, almost 230 pounds. And, being an athlete, we would expect him to have somewhat of good athletic traits, and Liberty and Navy also offered him. Wide receiver, we really didn't have many options. Not many receivers were interested this cycle so far. So George Cabrera just kind of threw a dart at him, didn't scout him at all. FAU, the only other team to offer him at this point. And then we have Kevin Ellington, an offensive tackle. We want to bring in 3 offensive linemen total in this class. So if we can get Ellington, Nitschke, and then one of our interior guys, I think that would be a good haul. So we haven't poured any points into any of these guys besides scouting. We're kind of just going to hold off on that for next week. Spencer Middlebrooks, a linebacker athlete. Patrick Kongbo, one of 2 receivers we hope to bring in, like Cabrera up here. We did not scout him quite yet. And Max Trahan, we did offer him in the initial preseason scouting as the interior lineman we hope to bring in this year. Tobias Swope, we didn't have many options at corner. He was kind of the guy who stood out the most, even though he's not the most impressive, but 91 speed, 71 man, 75 zone. So I like the balance there with his coverage traits. A lot of times, if you get a zone guy, he has very good zone, but will have very, very bad man, or vice versa if you get like a man tendency corner. But he's pretty balanced, good athletic traits, although the 83 agility a little low, but the speed over 90, I think we do like. So Swope, the lone corner we're hoping to get. We do want a tight end, so we just went and offered Marcus Gee and Juan Shaw. Haven't scouted them yet. And then we have more guys down here. Maybe get at Brandon Beach and Andre Bartu. Want to bring in another DN, so we're kind of pour more resources, into them next week. And we did add a few players down here, so I haven't added any 1-star or any 2-stars to the board. And shout out to Obscure Victories Gaming. He posted a very good 1-star centric video on his channel. I highly recommend you checking it out. Very good data there regarding 1-star and 2-stars, but he also made the point, like programs who are building from nothing or rebuilding, they need guys like this. They need those like Obscure Victories Gaming, like he said in his video, the glue guys. You need those guys who are chippy, they work hard, they kind of bring the best out of everyone, they kind of inspire the guys around them. So I was inspired to kind of include some of these guys. No 1-stars though. We have some 2-stars down here that we kind of just added after we removed some guys after this first week. So George Kimball, a 2-star blocking tight end out of Inman, South Carolina. Maybe someone we could use at fullback a little bit. Richard Allen, a 2-star guard here out of Lawrenceville, Georgia. Ethan Malveaux, he is a 3-star, actually very highly rated, 515 on the national board. We went ahead and added him as well. An athlete, but probably a center. Bob Kozier, just to add another offensive lineman here with that agile tendency, a 2-star out of Cedartown, Georgia. And then Josh Penny, a 2-star out of Duluth, Georgia, a slot corner tendency. So that's going to do it here for this episode. I think this is where I'm going to leave you, folks. Thank you so much for watching. I know this one might have dragged on a little bit more as well. I've been kind of trying to keep these a little bit shorter, but there's just so much, information, so much data to go through. So I think that's kind of why they've been dragging along a little bit. But we're back on track. We're back on schedule. We're pumping out these episodes, and I'm having a lot of fun doing it. I really look forward to this year 2 season where we're going to open on the road against the number 22 ranked Wake Forest Demon Deacons. So hopefully you come back for that episode. Hopefully you enjoyed this one, and I would love to hear your thoughts on our recruiting board and your expectations for this team going into year 2 of this dynasty. So as always, everybody, it's been real and be well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.